Alexandria, thank you so much for joining us. You are in Washington, D.C., and so I feel like I have to start with the administration, the Biden administration. President Biden has been signing a number of actions today and over the past few days. Where do you rate the administration right now in terms of progress based on what we've seen?
Where do I rate the administration right now in progress? Administration. I think that in the past couple of weeks there have been some, really good things to happen because there's a big focus on the environment at the moment. Earth Day always brings that around, a huge surge of energy where people are realizing that we have to take action. But to be honest, I don't think we have seen the action that we need to see in this past year with the new administration. We got a lot of promises for actions that would be taken, and I think that we haven't yet seen those start to happen. And we really need to start ramping up the action that we take, because with every new report that comes out, like the IPCC report, it's a new constant reminder that we need to start taking action urgently. And so I think we're not moving at the speed that we need to. And that's why youth activists like myself are constantly going to be here reminding the administration the actions that we need to take.
Yeah, there are a lot of headwinds to progress here, aren't there? And I'm wondering, when you look at the strikes that you're pursuing and the activism that you're taking on, what else do you need to get the job done? Who else's support do you need to be louder?
We need everybody's support. Youth activists, we're going to continue making our voices heard, but we need everybody in this movement. We need adults coming out and supporting us and backing us up, because this really is an intergenerational inequality issue. And I think that when we have supports in everybody, business leaders coming out and supporting youth activists, that is what will make our movement so much stronger. And so right now, youth activists, our message is so important because every aspect of our life is going to be impacted by the climate crisis. It's such a huge issue for us because in the future, it's going to impact every aspect of our lives, from where we live, from where we go to school, to what kind of careers we have. And a lot of young people are even having conversations about whether or not they're going to have children. And all of that is because of climate change. So we have this huge intergenerational inequality going on. And because of that, we need adults not stepping back, but stepping up to support us. We need business leaders coming out and taking action and supporting us. We need everybody doing it. If you're a grandparent and you have grandchildren, come out and march and support with your children and grandchildren.
Yeah, at the very least, Alexandria. Can we just talk to you about, when we talk about lawmakers and the work that you and a number of youth climate activists globally are doing, is there anyone or are there any governments that are, working with you and sort of encouraging you towards getting to some of these goals that we're trying to achieve?
I have gotten to meet a couple politicians and lawmakers who have been supportive of the youth climate movement in some capacity. I think that I was at the COP in Glasgow, where I got to have a meeting with Senator Ed Markey and Senator Merkley. And I was really excited to be able to share my kind of experiences as a climate activist, because I got involved in climate change in the first place because I saw the climate crisis firsthand, where I grew up in Northern California with the wildfires that we have. And so that constantly is motivating me to take action. And so I got to share my stories with them. And then also I got to tell them what the youth wanted to see in terms of action. And so, I think that they have shown a great example of politicians listening to young activists, and we need way more doing that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Do you feel that when you talk to lawmakers that they're actually listening and that they're actually taking action? Do you have evidence of it?
Well, the good thing is if they're not listening, we will make them. And so even in initial meetings with politicians, sometimes I do find that, there can be very patronizing conversations where, oh, good little youth activists, and they pat us on the heads for what we're doing. And they say, you're doing such a great job, but nothing else. And so I think that that's why it's so important that we constantly show up in the conversation and remind politicians and lawmakers that we need to be in the discussion and we need to be in the room. And so even if they don't listen to us in the first meeting, that doesn't mean we're going to go away. We're going to keep showing up. And so more politicians do need to include us in the conversation without patronizing us. And treating our voices as those of children, and calling our perspectives youthful, because they're not youthful, they're the future.
That's a great message. Alexandria, can we also ask you about sort of some other areas where Earthrising is working, specifically climate law and climate media, because I think that also plays a role in this whole discussion. How is Earthrising trying to educate people more on the climate law perspective at this point?
Yeah, so Earth Uprising has a law group, and this law group within the organization focuses on bringing the youth voice on the climate crisis into the world's court systems. It will focus on connecting young people with legal representation and providing wraparound services for existing and future youth-focused climate lawsuits. And the reason why this is really important to us is because one of the ways that we are going to see action on the climate is with accountability, and climate lawsuits is one way to bring accountability. And then also just to see action in the future, because with lawsuits, it's important to show up saying this is exactly what we want to see. And we're showing them, we're giving them the information, and we're giving these governments what they need to actually take action for. And so it's so important that we lay it out for them. This is what we want to see. And then Earth Uprising has a media focus in our group as well. And it's entirely youth-led, and it will focus on amplifying youth voices on the climate crisis in the media, because storytelling is part of the solution to the climate crisis. And we will be publishing our own media and connecting youth with major media outlets for participation in climate media projects.
And what about in the near term? It is Earth Day. How are you spending the weekend, and what do you see happening for you and other activists in the near term?
Well, first of all, since it is Earth Day, there's a ton of announcements and groups who are announcing different projects, and there's always so much happening at this day. But what I think is really important about Earth Day is that it's a day that invites people in, and it shows people that there is a place where you can get involved and take action, because a lot of people want to get involved in the climate movement, but sometimes they just don't know where to go. And I think this day is an invitation to them, saying that there is a place for you to join. Join Earth Uprising, join other organizations out there, and take action with a community of people. And then I'm here in Washington, D.C. for Earth Day as an earthday.org partner and as a My Future, My Voice ambassador. And Earth Day's message for 2022 is invest in our planet, because now is the time, and we must have the courage to preserve and protect our health, our families, our livelihood. So together we must invest in our planet with our time, our energy, and our resources.